You're tuned to KSJE, Farmington, New Mexico, 90.9 FM. And now 103.3 FM, K277CR, Durango, Colorado.
KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center. It's physician-led and supported by specialists, so patients can receive the treatment they need right here at home. When every minute matters, dedicated caregivers are here for you. San Juan Regional Medical Center, serving the Four Corners region for generations. Find out more at sanjuanregional.com.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Cop Shop with FPD. I'm your host, Chief Steve Hebbe, and with me as always is our PIO, Shanice Gonzales. How are you, Shanice?
I'm good, Chief. How are you?
Good. Busy couple of weeks.
Very busy.
For us as a community and then as a department. We got through Connie Mack, another successful year. I think KSJE, your ratings jumped through the roof this year.
Jumped, yes. Of course with Connie Mack, yeah.
And
this show and Connie Mack, the two spikes that we see.
Yes. Sarcasm aside, I think it was good. It appeared the weather was it was very hot, but I guess there were a few lightning storms. Not a lot of the monsoons, but a lot of heat. Did you go to any of the games?
I did not. I'm not about the heat.
You're not, and it was hot.
It was one of the hottest summers I can remember.
Yeah, it is actually refreshing today. It says 79, feels like 79. That's just, we haven't seen that except at night in quite a while. So, and it hasn't just been here. It's been hot all over the state and been hot all over the country, honestly. So we made it through Connie Mack. Then FPD started our big move into our new facility. That move will take us another 4 to 6 weeks probably to really complete. And that means, by complete I mean we'll have our record staff over there will begin to just do business out of the new building. We're still working on what exactly those times are, and we'll probably begin the transition and have the public start reporting over there to pick up reports or whatever other business they need to do. But that's been a long time coming, and you're on the ground floor getting to see it.
I am, and there's just so much coordinating. I don't think people can really understand what moving a police department looks like, and so Captain Davis has done wonderful figuring out what units can move the fastest, what ones are going to take the longest, being able to coordinate, getting everything that we needed done. We had a whole gym that had to get rebuilt. It's been a lot of work.
So it was a beautiful building that we had from Hillcore. And if you don't know that, it's right down on the southeast corner of the Bloomfield Highway and Andrea Drive, just south of the jail a little bit. But it was an office building, for an oil company. It wasn't a police station. So no locker rooms, no armory, no evidence room, all things that we had to build out. So that has been a long time coming for us, and really the discussions on a new building started for me about the day I got here in town. It was already in the wind as something that was to be considered. But right now we are in the final stages of it after all of this, and I think it's pretty exciting. We've got a few units that are over there already, and they're excited to be moving in. I'm kind of in between buildings a little bit because we still have our record staff back over at the PD. So I'm not in as big a hurry to move. Plus, I do a lot of business at City Hall where the rest of the department doesn't. And you are in between offices too.
I am. It's like a ghost town up there. I'm kind of the only one. You come and go. But I'm the only one that's really operating out of my office. But I started packing today. I had some other stuff that I was finishing up this week. And not only am I moving my office, but I now get a media room, so I'm needing to move all of my media stuff. So I was just kind of needing to strategize that a little bit more. So I will start moving on Monday. I'm very excited. I love my little office, though. So I have one of the newest offices. I've got like the dimming lights and the fan. It's a very nice office. But our building is so old, we've had to do so much to be able to make it what we needed it to be. And so my office originally was the overlook of some stairs coming up, and they were able to make that into a super nice office. And I wish that I could have seen it before it was an office, because I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was like she's describing. There, you had a little like landing area. In fact, one of the pictures we did for the Chiefs Challenge when we were having a football picking contest with the troops, the DC and I laid down on that. We were like halfway down, like we jumped off the ledge and it landed because we lost. So it was an interesting setup, and it looked down the whole staircase. And so we walled that in, and you're kind of floating there, just sort of hanging there in the air.
Can't stomp too hard.
Yeah, no, she kind of tiptoes into the room. But yeah, that's what we were down to try and create more office space in our current building.
And that's kind of how it's been the whole time.
Yes.
So we've just kind of put up dry walls to separate rooms and make more offices.
Yep.
We've done that so many times. A lot of the light switches are on, like in the hallway, because it was once a room and now it's a different kind of room. Same thing with ACs. Lots of upstairs and downstairs are all sharing the same thermostat, because we've just had to put up like weird walls and dividing devices.
So that building that we're currently in as a police station, I think, was several things for the city. It was the municipal court. I think it might have been City Hall at one point, originally, but certainly the clerk's office was in there apparently. The police department, and then as the police department grew, then the other sections moved out, and the police department took over the building, and eventually then we wound up with our detectives over in the other building, which is the courthouse just to the north of us. So it's been an odyssey, and it was the jail. Yeah.
And the jail is still there, and it is still so creepy. I hate going down there. It's very creepy.
So that rumor has always been that it's haunted.
I believe it.
And I think our last supply clerk was insistent that there is a ghost there. I think the ghost is just me talking to the walls at her. Get going, Kim. But it certainly is open to rumors and discussion. But it hasn't been a jail now for probably 20 years. I think, but we still have the cells in there. It costs a lot of money to pull them out, so we use it as a supply closet now, basically. So moving from that environment to this new building is like you described. It's a monumental task, but it's also pretty exciting because the building is much bigger, much more open, not kind of cobbled together. The first 6 months I was here, I'd get lost in the building.
Yeah,
that we're
everybody
currently in,
does.
roaming around trying to figure out, where my office was versus where the troops were stationed at. So Scott has some photos up for you right now, and you can see we've even got the sign that we took off from our current building, and we've put the sign up. That's the front of the building right there. The public will come in. Those doors there will be our lobby. That is the chief's secretary area. You can see the elevator. We don't have an elevator in the current building, even though it's 2 stories. That's always been a trick for us. So this is where you'll come in either up the stairs there, which leads out to the front door, or you'll come on the elevator, and that's the chief's greeting area right there. There's our gym. Much bigger. And what did you think of it when you got to see it, Shanice?
I was not expecting it to be that big. So I remember before we bought or I guess when we bought the building, but when we were talking about the construction of it, like seeing how big it was. But our gym right now is like half of the size, and so there's so much more equipment there. It is gigantic.
It is.
Yeah, people are going to love it.
Yeah, people
and
are
you get
gonna
an
love it, so.
online, or not an online, a 1-hour workout on duty, and so yeah, the troops will really be able to utilize that. There's so much more room, so much more equipment. We should be able to fit a lot more people. It should be very good.
Yes. And there's our new locker rooms. The locker rooms at the PD. We actually did renovate those like 2016, 2017. After I'd been here a little while, it was so bad. The bathroom in the locker room was just disgusting. So we were able to spend some money and upgrade the one that we're in. So the current locker room isn't that bad. It's actually fairly nice. MOC did a great job with it at that time. But this one's much bigger, much roomier. We just have more space in general in this new building. So you were commenting, even for the women's locker room is quite a bit bigger than what you have right now.
It is. And there's a whole different layout. So like the one that we currently have is just like one big U with like a bench in the middle, and so there's not a real, like a lot of privacy. You can go into the because there's one shower. I mean, for people who wanted privacy, they can go into the shower to change, or the stalls, but even those are limited. Where this kind of feels more of like an actual gym or a pool, where you're able to have some privacy in the space that you're in to be able to change. You're not wide out in the open. Plus, in the current locker room, there's just a sheet that separates from people who are coming to wash their hands, and so this just feels so much more secure and so much more private.
Yeah, we it was a little more ad hoc at our current facility. So, and this is the briefing room for the officers. It's a little more unusual shaped. It's kind of long and thin. So really, we kind of debated back and forth. Do we want it to be shorter and wide, and the troops are off left and right of you as you're speaking, or just deep down there? And so at the front, up there by the flags, you can see that's where the sergeants will sit when they're conducting briefing. The troops will be in the two rows all the way back. I think it'll work out. It'll work out great. And this is one of the break rooms. That is not something that we have in our current building. Well, I guess we do downstairs. We kind of have an ad hoc one near the multi-purpose room that we've kind of cobbled together. But this is a natural one. There's two of them, one on each floor, where the employees can go and take a break. So that is a nice little area where they can eat lunch and actually not sit there at their desks, but get a chance to get up and head to the break room. So.
And very updated. We were able to keep all of the furniture, the stuff we have now, even in our offices now. Like all of the desks are built into the wall, and they're very 90s. Same thing with the chairs. This is just modern and clean, and just looks very updated.
Yeah. And this is the lobby. So you can tell we're still kind of building it out, but you'll come in to the right there. You can just see the tire on one of the pieces of equipment that we're using. And that's where behind the glass is where the records clerks will be. We've had that put in the bulletproof glass and the Kevlar on the walls and the security features that you want in order to keep your staff safe these days. And then those two doors open up. You're going to walk in, and off to the left is just a huge training room, which is a major upgrade for us. That is a constant problem for us at the PD. We frequently wind up down at the Civic Center because we don't have the space for the classes we're trying to put on. And this building has just a beautiful training area that we'll be able to use. So this will build out, and we'll have some historical stuff from our past, kind of on display there, and we're discussing some other things like artwork and things like that. Bring in some artists to paint some stuff on the walls, maybe our fallen officers in particular. So we have lots of ideas, and we're just getting started. And this is one of the evidence rooms that we've got. That is the biggest part of our move. We'll be moving all of the evidence, found property, recovered property, and that is not a small process. That will be thousands and thousands of items that, as a citizen, you might know that we pick stuff up, but you don't know how long we store it. Some of the evidence we have to hold forever. Some of it's just for decades that we have to hold it. It's guns, it's drugs, it's money, it's jewelry. But then it's all the other stuff. It's bikes, it's baseball bats, it's, pictures of Scott that we might take off of suspects when they steal them. So there is a lot of things that we have that we will wind up loading up.
How many of those do you have now?
Well, at least at least a good 10 or 20. Very
Wow.
popular item to
Okay.
steal.
Well, who knew? Okay.
But also, seems like people are kind of careless with them too. So we're not really sure.
Gotcha. Some's evidence, some is trash. I
Yeah.
understand what you're
Well,
saying. Okay.
one man's trash is another man's treasure. So.
That's true.
So that will be a lot of moving, and that probably we have to bring in an outside company to move the big space saver rollers that all of this stuff sits on, and so that will be a major part of our timing of finally closing out business up on municipal and heading down there is when we can make that move. But it will be a major process. We have to make sure that we can show the chain of custody for items that are eventually going to go to court to show we had custody of them the whole time. Nobody could have tampered with them, and obviously we can't lose any of it. So that is a major part of our move. And this is the training room that I was telling you about. It is huge, and we actually just had it set up and had our first supervisor meeting in the new building. So all of our sergeants, lieutenants, and captains get together and we talk through issues that we're facing as a department. And it's just massive when you're actually in it compared to the multi-purpose room which we use for training at the current PD, which maybe you're at 30, 35 people tops. This one, it'll be more than 3 times that you could have in there comfortably. So our ability to bring in quality training here and host it on site, invite other agencies in to participate, it's just going to be a real benefit to the department in the decades ahead.
That's all I have.
That's it.
Yeah.
But you, Shanice, had the chance to go out and kind of take photos. You hadn't toured it before, but what was your impressions as you roamed through it?
I went to when we originally had gotten the keys, or we were starting the process of building. I think all of command went out and we toured it just to kind of see what it was going to look like before and after. So we were supposed to be in the building last November, and it's just one of those things, like there was so much that needed to be done. The builders did a fantastic job. The contractors did a fantastic job. Captain Davis has done a wonderful job. It looks great. It's so much more roomier. It's so much more modern. Like I said, where we are upstairs, like with the rest of Command U and all of the DCs and everyone, nobody's offices matched. Like everyone's desks were just kind of like those 90s styles, built-in bookshelves, and it just looks so uniformed now. Everyone has the same things. It's just very clean. Everyone has windows. We got windows on the doors, and so it just looks very elegant. I'm excited to be able to be there, and yeah, for a long time. I don't think, like you say, I don't think that anyone in our generation will be able to see this again, who's
No.
in the department now.
So I don't know exactly, because obviously I wasn't here at the time. I don't know how long we've been in the current building that we're in, but it feels like it was a 50s type construction. So maybe in there, the department kind of moved there. I know we've got photos of chiefs standing around there in the 70s. So by the 70s, we were pretty well entrenched there. So you're talking at least 60 years, maybe more, that in one form or another we were using it. This building, honestly, Hillcorps did the city just such a favor in basically donating it to the city. Then we've spent, so the timeline on it is when I arrived in 2014, the current deputy chief at that time was Keith McFeeters, and getting a new building was a major priority for him then. That was 12 and a half years ago. So it was already a conversation point. The city manager then was Rob Mays, of course, and he and I had numerous conversations about the building and where could we go. The current mayor at that time was Tommy Roberts. Both Mayor Roberts and Mayor Duckett were part of those discussions. The city councils through the years have talked about getting a new building and where would we put it and how much would it cost to do it. And really to build something similar to this from the ground up, you're talking 40 to 45 million. And the city just doesn't have that kind of money laying around for this. In this case, we got it for a song, a few $1 million that Hillcore basically donated this wonderful building. And then we spent some time, so we've had the building now for 4 years, but it took us a while to get money to do all the construction that we're talking about, to convert it and build an armory, to build the gyms and the locker rooms and the briefing rooms, all the things that are part of it, and of course the evidence rooms. So it took a few years. We were able to get money from the state. Our legislators helped us, our local legislators, and we were able to get several $1 million. And then we launched last spring. So it's been more than a year that we've been, working through this process to wind up here. So it has been a long process to get here. The PD is definitely cognizant of the sacrifice of our citizens and the support of our council and our elected officials over the last decade or more to get us to this spot. So it is very exciting.
And with the location change, we've been so close to the courts and the city manager and all of the things, and you have so many meetings with them on a daily basis, and so I think that's going to change a lot. But even saying that, we've had so many complaints on Bloomfield Highway, so I think the residents are going to feel safer to be able to know that we're going to go heavy on the speed enforcements. So just kind of that location change, what's that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's different than it is for the troops. It's most of the business that I wind up doing outside of the department involves being downtown or being at, up on Municipal Hill. So, I'll be gone from the new building a lot. But the officers really don't stay in the building anyway. They're out and about on the streets. It'll be nice to have the detectives co-located in the same headquarters building. Right now, we're in separate buildings. I do think it will make a difference for speed on Bloomfield Highway. We'll have some increased visibility there. It's a little more out of the way in the southeast corner of the city, but who knows what the city looks like 10 years from now. We have done some growth as a city through the years, so it's possible that this won't be on the fringes of the city eventually. But for the price we paid for it, it's just a fantastic building, and we'll make the location work.
So we have about 1 minute left if you want to talk about the open house that we're going to do soon.
We will be doing an open house. We're actually looking at the dates. We want it to be a little spiffier than what you saw, where we don't have equipment laying around in the lobby. That it probably before Thanksgiving is what I would estimate. We'll have a chance to have the public come in and take a look at your facility, your police department.
Nice. Before you go,
Yes, sir.
One more thing, 'cause I know you were busy this week as well.
I was.
Chief Hebbe, and I just want the public to be able to make a decision here on who wore it better. You were a crossing guard for Farmington Schools, and so was I.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's never going to be a good look for me to go up against you. You got that,
I don't know.
made-for-TV look.
But,
I got that made-for-an-office building look.
You got the uniform, though, and I've got the vest. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Yes.
So I just
That's-
wanted the public to be able to decide.
Well, thanks for that.
Yes, sir. You're very welcome.
Very prepared, Scott.
Yeah.
I like that.
Just what we love is ambushes.
I'll let you
So-
wrap up the show.
We thank you for joining us. We'll have more information for you on a whole variety of things in a couple of weeks. Until then, stay safe, stay cool, and we'll see you again here on the Cop Shop.